Hello and welcome everyone, this is Type V3 and today I'll be taking a look at the Transformers Darker the Moon Deluxe Ratchet and Deluxe Starscream. Now I'll be honest with you guys, I am not a fan of either of these characters, so they've definitely got a lot to prove before impressing me. Like many of the other Darker the Moon Deluxe class figures, both Ratchet and Starscream's alt mode look great. Of course, this isn't exactly the first time Hasbro has had to work with these designs. The neon green that's been used on Ratchet this time around really pops, and the use of the paint apps are aplenty. I specifically love the beautifully molded in front grille with the silver accents and the metallic rear windows. A nicely sculpted roof along with a hazard strip and a search and rescue Autobot stamp came out nice, but metallic wheels really would have finished off the look for this medical officer. Now Ratchet comes with this sort of brownish gold mech tech weapon, and while it's not pretty in design, it has the coolest gimmick because when you pull the lever back, a buzzsaw comes out and it spins. So that's definitely something very cool. While it does, I guess, replicate a sort of Jaws of Life type weapon, I really only can see mechanical pizza cutters, so it could just be me, but that's my opinion on it. It has two pegs on it, one here and one at the bottom, so you can plug it in on any of his MacTech ports, like so. Honestly, it doesn't look too bad on this vehicle. It kind of sort of suits it. If you put it upwards like this, though, it does look a bit far-fetched now. I don't know. You could also choose to plug it on his side panels, like when you open these up. And again, giant guns on the side of cars doesn't look really too well, and when you plug it in sideways, it looks even dumber. So, I don't know, it doesn't work for me, but if it's your thing, then go for it. As for Starscream, the tattooed paintwork on top of this jet works well to mask any panel breaks this figure has, and the clear yellow cockpit is a nice touch. I could argue this figure might need a bit more color, but considering his original design is very bland, I can't really blame him. As for the undercarriage, it definitely isn't the most concealing thing we've seen, but it's much better than those classic Deluxe Seekers. Before I get to Starscream's MacTech weapon, I think it's worth noting that you can fold away his landing gear, and he'll still stand quite well. He won't fall over anything, he's very stable. Now, he does come with these two weapons, and they're basically guns on one end and swords on the other. The MacTech is only available on this one, and when you activate it, I believe it turns into basically a giant sort of blade. The other thing you can do is connect both together, keep it locked out fully, and you have what is basically a double-ended blade. You're probably never going to use this in the alt mode, but I'm just showing it to you just so you know it's there. These do plug in right here at the bottom of his wings. You can plug them here if you like. They look kind of stupid there, so I usually just keep them on here to give him some weapons in his jet form. Now, you know what? It looks alright. I'm a big fan of asymmetrical design, but for some reason I don't like the way that these guns look, especially the fact that his swords just look completely stupid at the back end of this jet, but that's just me. Clean paint apps and well-hidden panel breaks combine to form excellent alt modes. Of course, they're ultimately ruined with the addition of any sort of MechTech weapon. But oversized weapons aside, let's check out some transformations. Ratchet's transformation is absolutely brilliant. For such a complex design, this has such a simple and elegant execution, and it strikes the perfect balance of complexity and fun. This is also one transformation that's very short and that can be done without the aid of any sort of instructions. The only issue you may face here is trying to get his front fenders in and out of the front grille, but apart from that, the designers worked really hard to make this transformation impressive. While not quite as brilliant as Ratchet's, Starscream's transformation is still pretty good. The big thing to take note of here is how the designers used all their ideas and tricks from the Leader class toy and pared them down into something that a Deluxe toy could manage. Unfortunately, this figure does force you to transform all the pieces in a certain sequence, but overall it isn't too much of a hindrance. With two simple transformations out of the way, we have ourselves some slightly out of scale robots. Ratchet's overall look is rather interesting, as he's not quite intimidating nor is he passive looking. I feel like he's missing some paint apps in his lower legs and his hands as well. His head is well detailed, and the mix of black, green, and silver paint work well with the turquoise eyes. And even though there's a lot of great detail in his midsection, there does seem to be a strange little gap where his abdomen should be. And due to transformation, he's unfortunately acquired a large backpack. Ratchet's head's on a simple swivel that goes left and right. He's got some amazing posability in his shoulders as they are on a ball joint that's connected to another swivel joint. He's got a bicep cut, double jointed elbow, and no play in his wrists at all, except for maybe a little bit of in and out there. He's got no waist, Each hip is on a great ball joint, double jointed knee that can close in due to transformation, and some really good ankle movement, so good stuff there. He's got no actual mech tech ports on his forearms. Instead, his hands are just molded to fit the weapon, so you can just hold it however you choose. He's also got a place on both his legs right here. You can plug it in like so, but I think it looks kind of dumb like that. I don't know. There's just no way that would fly with me. He's got another place on his back due to his transformation. You can put it there for storage, but if you leave it there, it just really gives him an elongated backpack that I don't really like the look of, so usually I just keep it in his hand. That's the best place I find, but again, you can choose whatever you want. Again, it's totally up to you. Ratchet is definitely a very posable figure, and the addition of his well-designed feet mean that he can hold very sturdy stances. While I do feel he is lacking a bit in the paint apps area, I can't overlook it just because he has so much detail molded into his plastic. And even though his mech tech weapon isn't exactly the prettiest thing I've seen on the earth, its pizza cutter-esque gimmick does give me enough of a laugh to enjoy it. As for Starscream, you'll notice that he's a small figure even for a deluxe class toy. However, his proportions do seem to be correct. His head is the only place with any actual paint apps, and I do wish his midsection had been filled in with a little bit more plastic detailing. On the bright side, this guy has quite a thin profile. It's absolutely stunning. Like Ratchet, Starscream has a swivel neck. Each shoulder is connected on this swivel that goes up and down, and then it's on a ball joint. Interestingly, there's no bicep swivel. Instead, he has a joint there, an elbow ball joint, double jointed wrist, but again, no swivel, and you'd be surprised how limited this makes some of his poses. Obviously, no waist on this guy, ball jointed hips, interestingly double jointed knees. There is some play in the ankle there, and then these stands have to kind of stay in place because if you move them out, it kind of just makes it kind of useless. But in terms of posability, it's alright, not the best I've seen on a Starscream figure, but it works for this guy. When it comes to mech tech, there are plenty of options with Starscream. You can take both and store them on his back, or you can store them on the sides of his chest to give him the underarm barrel cannon look. You can place them on his arms and give him the classic Starscream null ray look. And of course, you can always put them together for this figure's main gimmick and give him the double-bladed staff look that everyone seems to enjoy. My personal favorite thing to do, though, is just to attach them, but sideways this time, so that it looks like he has one large gun. That looks cool. But I think what's even better is if you reverse it, and then now he has one giant knife or sword, and I think this looks even better for him. I think this totally suits his personality. I mean, he just has one giant mechanical blade. Definitely something that I can think is very cool. He may be small, but this new Deluxe Starscream is definitely still a great figure. With an awesome new mech tech weapon and a transformation that's relatively simple, he still has that sinister look that every Starscream should have. Even though his posability is a bit limited in some areas, it's definitely something that can be overlooked. From a technical and engineering standpoint, both Starscream and Ratchet are brilliant toys. With clean alt modes, simplistic transformations, and an awesome mech tech weapon, they're definitely toys that are worth looking into. However, when I look at these figures as a whole, something seems to be missing. It's like they don't have a certain wow factor or zing, and absolutely nothing about them excites me. It could be the fact that I don't really like these characters, or the fact that I'm just crazy. Regardless your stance on it though, if you do pick these up, you won't be disappointed as these are the best two deluxe figures to come out of the Darker the Moon toy line. Not to mention the best versions of Deluxe Starscream and Ratchet. Anyways, there you go, the review for Transformers Darker the Moon Deluxe Starscream and Deluxe Ratchet. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. Remember to comment, rate, and subscribe on my channel, and I'll see you guys next time.